are you guys doing today? Did you guys have a good night? How'd you sleep? All right. Well, hey, I have some good news for you. As I said in yesterday's video, I love to come out on the lanai and spend time with God. Early in the morning, late in the afternoon, whenever it is. I'd like to brew myself a nice cup of coffee and then spend time with God. And today on the guided scripture, because I use the Bible app every day, on the guided scripture, there was a incredible reflection that I just had to share with you. So, to begin, the verse of the day today, I'm going to read it to you. It's John 15:2. Every branch in me that does not produce fruit, he removes. And he prunes every branch that will produce fruit so that it will produce more fruit. So, when I started watching the guided scripture today, it was a guy named Dan. And maybe you yourself have watched this. I highly encourage you to download the Bible app and spend your days with God. It's a change in perspective, and it really, really helps solidify who we are as humans. So Dan is celebrating his anniversary with his wife. They go to the restaurant. When they get to the restaurant, he starts a small talk conversation with the waiter. And he asks the waiter, hey, what is the difference between a cheap wine and an expensive wine? And here's what the waiter says. The waiter says there's an island called Santorini. You may be familiar with Santorini. It's known as a great location to go on vacation. But Santorini has some really harsh weather for fruit. You see, you have blazing heat, you have constant high winds, and you also have the salt water getting whipped up from the ocean and thrown to that fruit. So this fruit is getting beaten and battered day after day. And after getting beaten and battered day after day for 15 years, it then is taken and transformed into what is some of the best wine on planet Earth. So what does all that mean? It means that whatever you're going through today, whatever season you're in, and maybe at this moment it does not pertain to you, but here's one thing I can guarantee you. Eventually, it will pertain to you because we all go through these struggles and these seasons when you need a verse like this. That beaten and battered fruit that has been getting destroyed for 15 years, if this fruit had a conscience, it would be like, man, I just can't do it anymore. I'm just getting beaten and I'm just getting battered. And day after day, I just can't take the high winds. I can't take all the salt water. I can't take the heat. I just can't do it. That's what the fruit would be saying. But little does it know, 15 years later, it's going to be one of the most sought after wines in the world. You see, God is using our struggles to build us into bigger and better people. The person that he wants us to be, the person that we ourselves are growing into, is because of the struggles that we get put into and the seasons that we're in. So if you're feeling down today, know today that God's got you and you are on the right path, because I promise you, you're on your way to bigger and better things. So what a lot of people don't realize is the amount of time it takes when you make a YouTube video that has to get put into just simply the marketing, right? So we made yesterday's vlog over the course of the entire day. It was 11 to 8, I believe, was the threshold for the vlog. And then we edited for 4 hours. And then it took me an extra hour to get the marketing scheduled and get everything put out or scheduled to be put out for when the vlog dropped, which was this morning at 7:45. It's currently 8:18. Been up since 6 a.m. Been doing a whole bunch of stuff work related, and of course, like I said, spent some time with God. But I see so many people who are like, "Oh, it's so easy to be a YouTuber. YouTubers get paid all this money because they got these great sponsorships, but yet I work a 40-hour week job, but I don't get paid half of what you get paid. YouTubers suck." I don't make any money from this, by the way. That's not where I'm at yet. Like, it's a goal of mine. Like, I'm really trying to take YouTube a lot more seriously than I have, because I've always spent time creating content for other people and creating content to help build people's brands. But now it's my turn. So now we're taking that step. But it just sickens me when I see that, because people have no idea the amount of time it takes to not only make a YouTube video, but market that YouTube video. And all these people that complain, I guarantee you they would never last a week in a YouTube environment trying to create content. And I'm just blessed to where I completely make my own schedule, so I'm able to make my own time to be able to film and edit videos. But if you have a 9-to-5 job, I get it. It's extremely difficult. You have either your morning or your night or your weekends. And I know that most likely you don't want to do it when you're at that time because you want to relax. I get it. But if that is something you're aspiring to do and you do have a 9-to-5, unfortunately, you're going to have to sacrifice and you're going to have to do it anyways. All right, so let's get into today's topic. And today's topic is all about the importance of value within your Section 8 rental business. Now, there's various businesses that I own. We've got the trucking business. We've got the t-shirt company known as From the Rafters, aka some of you might know it as 94 Feet. We have our real estate business where I was working with partners. However, now I've branched out on my own and doing this myself. So those are just a couple of the businesses, but I wanted to take today's video and talk to you guys about maximizing those investments that you're putting into what is your Section 8 portfolio, or maybe just you can get some tips and tricks from this just from real estate in general, depending on what type of real estate that you're doing. So first thing is I want to talk about what is Section 8, right? Like, if you don't know what Section 8 is, then you can't maximize what you're trying to do. Now, this is not going to be a full in-depth video on Section 8. That'll take hours. But this is going to be an overview of some points that you can utilize in your business, or maybe get your business started thinking about it in order to maximize your profit. So, if you're on your way to the grocery store and you go to check out and you've got this coupon, and the coupon says 75% off of all USDA choice meats. Cool. You just got 75% off. So think of that in terms of housing. You see, there's people who qualify for what is known as Section 8. They don't have a certain income that allows them to be able to rent or buy a property. So Section 8 is basically a person who receives a coupon to be able to live in a certain place for a discounted rate. Now, landlords, it's our job to provide safe and adequate housing for that specific tenant. So, let's say your name is Sally, and Sally's income is $200 a month. Sally receives a coupon known as a Housing Choice Voucher program. That's what the Housing Choice Voucher program is. It's basically coupons. She receives that coupon that says, "Hey, Sally, your rent is going to be $100 per month." So let's say the rent is set at $1,500 because that is what the government says it is worth. You see, the government has these prices, and these prices are what the government says that that piece of property is worth in that area. And these prices are known as FMRs, or fair market rents. So if the FMR of that location is $1,500 and Sally has a $100 coupon, that means her rent is only $100 that she will be paying every single month. So that means the government pays the other $1,400. So Sally pays 100, the government pays 14. That then leaves you with 1,500, which of course gets supplied to the landlord. Theoretically, HCVP, Housing Choice Voucher Program, is the program. However, HUD, which is Housing of Urban Development, they're the ones who actually pay the rent. So, just a little clarification there. So, that is basically what Section 8 is. And that is how the HCVP intertwines to be able to give a potential Section 8 tenant their coupon. Now you see, that's not all that has to happen, because it's the landlord's responsibility to be able to make sure that the house that they are in is adequate. That's where we get to HQS, Housing Quality Standards. So you see these housing quality standards, it's very simple. I'm going to give a simple breakdown of what that is. So you have an inspection list. That inspection list, everything has to pass. If it passes, it's then an approved Section 8 house. If it doesn't pass, well, at that point, you have to fix whatever doesn't pass and get it re-inspected. So it's the landlord's job to be able to have this inspection sheet completed and approved by the housing authority. There is an auditor who will come out, and when it is time for your audit, you then have either yourself or your contractor show up. They walk through the property, and they will either check pass or check fail. So it's your job as a landlord to make sure that your contractors are then going out and making sure that the proper work is being done so you can pass your inspection. When you pass your inspection, congratulations, you're now a Section 8 tenant. All right, so just got off the phone with one of my good friends discussing the business and talking about moving forward in the business and how I'm planning on doing that, and was even talking to him about some future possibility of him working with me in the future. So just finished up that phone call. It's always good to talk to friends. Really always appreciate people reaching out, talking to them, and I love hearing the success stories of my friends and when they're doing stuff and when they're enjoying themselves. That's key. So just stopped off here at Wawa, got ourselves a good old Wawa coffee. You know, it's funny because back in Ohio, when we used to live in Ohio, Sheetz used to be my everything. Sheetz. Now it's Wawa. Got the best food, great coffee, great drinks, and they're open 24/7. It's the way to go. So back to Section 8, I want to talk about strategic acquisitions. So, you now know what Section 8 is, but the question is, what is the best way to acquire the property and where do you look? So, you want to find a high demand area with low Section 8 housing. So, you're talking when you call a HUD office. There are hundreds of HUD offices around the country. Each county usually has a HUD office. If you call said housing development office and you ask them, hey, what is your need right now? Do you have a waiting list? What is your need for houses? They might say, we have no tenants and we have a ton of houses available. You do not want that. Or they might say, we have so many tenants on this list and not enough housing. That's what you want. So you want to find areas like that, and also where you can purchase a rent-ready house for roughly $50,000 to $55,000 to $60,000. Now, my partners and I, when we used to work together, we were in the Cleveland area. And after doing a little bit more research, I'm not a big fan of that Cleveland area too much anymore. Times have changed, and that Cleveland market right now is kind of downfalling because Cleveland was really, really hot. So all these investors went in, purchased a whole bunch of houses, turned them into Section 8, and now it's just people competing for tenants. And when it comes down to that, it comes down to marketing. And if you don't have the proper marketing, you're not going to be able to get a tenant into your property. So I'm now avoiding Cleveland. However, once you find an area that has a good high demand and you have a rent-ready house for $50,000 to $55,000, you're in luck. Now, another key aspect is you've got to avoid the high crime areas. So I use a website called Spot Crime, SPOTCRIME, Spot Crime. Spot Crime is going to let you type in that address and it's going to show you the crime around that area. Now, why does crime matter? Because A, you don't want anybody breaking into your house. B, you don't want the tenant to feel threatened, because if the tenant feels threatened, they're not going to want to stay there long term. And C, drug busts, problems on the street with cops and gangs. Trust me, in Ohio, especially the Cleveland area, that's a thing. So you've got to keep your eye out for crime. Avoid high crime areas. So once you are able to find a property that you like with a high demand area for $50,000 to $55,000, you can move forward. Keep in mind, these houses, while they definitely want to be in good shape, they're not going to be the most incredible house. You're not purchasing a house for yourself. You are supplying adequate housing for low-income individuals. Previously, I had a dispute with one of my partners because we were not putting in enough renovation into one of our properties. The property compared to others in the area, because remember, I told you there's a lot of competition in that Cleveland area. If there's a lot of competition, you either need to be the lowest priced for FMRs in that area, or you need to have the best looking, greatest looking inside and outside of the house. And unfortunately, we had neither of those. And that caused a little conflict between us because I saw where that problem was. We were not able to rent out that unit. Sure enough, you make some changes, and I'm referring to myself, and all of a sudden you start to see success. So you need to make sure that your house is priced properly for that region with the FMRs in the area. You can literally find an FMR for a zip code anywhere. Just go to Google, type in FMR with a zip code, and it'll tell you what a 1, 2, 3, 4 in a studio apartment is worth in that area. That is what the government will pay you to put a house in that area. So you need to make sure that your house is updated, looking good. And then another thing is making sure it's priced right. Quick tip. So affordablehousing.com is what a lot of these tenants use to be able to find the property that they're looking to move into. So the quick tip is when you go to affordablehousing.com, compare your property with the other properties in the area. If you see that you are super high priced compared to other properties in the area, well, then you better drop your price or you better increase the value of the home by fixing it up. So compare. There's enough data, there's enough analytics out there to be able to determine why you are or why you are not succeeding in this market. So it looks like gas prices shot up again, huh? $3.49 diesel. It's just a little bit more, so I can't wait to get on the road and start paying these incredulous diesel prices. But all right, so let's talk about our next segment, which is going to be the aspect of renovations and property management. So renovations is pretty easy. Really, the only time that you need to worry about renovations is if something goes wrong, or that tenant has moved out, a new tenant will be moving in, and you want to upgrade. Those are really the only times you have to worry about renovations. And another key tip for you is avoid appliances, avoid things that break that would cause you to need to replace them, i.e. a ceiling fan, right? So you don't have to have a ceiling fan, because guess what happens when the ceiling fan breaks? You got to replace it. Guess what happens when a dishwasher breaks? That's right, you got to replace it. So eliminate things that break so you don't have to replace them. Moving forward, if you have a new tenant that's going to be moving in and you know your property needs upgrades, just get it done. Bite the bullet, because at the end of the day, if you're not doing that, it's only going to hurt you in the long run. Now we talk about property management, and property management is something that I have a love-hate relationship with, because when I was working with my partners previously, we did our own property management. It was a nightmare. Let me be truthful and let me be honest. People don't realize when you do your own property management, the amount of work that it takes, the amount of paperwork it takes, the amount of fixing that you have to do. And the problem is that you get so focused on the property management that you then spend no time on actually acquiring new properties. And I saw that as a big issue. And now, out of experience, I've been able to find property managers for only 6 to 10% of the income. I am more than happy to take 6% or 10% of my income and give that problem to somebody else so I can focus on building my business and acquiring new units. Now, at the end of the day, this is completely up to you. It's your business. It's your choice. You can remotely manage all of your properties like an Airbnb would, or you can hire somebody to handle it for you. If I had a choice between A or B, I would absolutely get a property manager. The 6 to 10% that you're going to pay a property manager is long and far worth it compared to the mess that you have to deal with if you're doing it yourself. All right, so we are at Starbucks. It's 12:52, and as like yesterday, we have a 1 p.m. investors call today. So just prepping up, making sure I have my notes and everything in order here on my iPad. And then at 1, we will hop on the phone and have a good meeting. Something to note real quick. If you notice in yesterday's video and also today, I have been using my 12.9-inch M1 iPad Pro exclusively. Why? Well, if you're familiar with Apple, you know that Apple has recently released the brand new iPads, and I am in love with the M4. Between the addition of the new Apple Magic Keyboard, which is now made with some like titanium, and also the new OLED screens, in love. So I'm going to make a video on this, but as we move forward, I am going to be trading in every single device that I have, which would be my iPad Pro, my iPad Air, my wife's iPad Air, and also my 16-inch 2021 M1 fully spec'd out MacBook Pro. And we are going to be trading all of that in for 2 new iPad Pros. And I am stoked. Now, we haven't done it yet, but with the new power behind this M4 chip and with my workflow, I actually can definitely use iPad OS because I've done it before. And I'm also excited to see what they come up with at WWDC next month. But that's going to be a future video, so just stay tuned. But it's 12:54, on to this call. All right, so that meeting got postponed to tomorrow. So rather than hop on that call, I ended up editing and getting up to this point in the vlog, or at least close to it. So let's do a little review for something that I've never tried before. So here in Fort Myers, we have this place called Chick's Chicken Salad. Now I love me some good chicken salad, and my mom used to make really good chicken salad back when I used to live with her. So I always love a good chicken salad sandwich. So first off, we've got a sandwich. Not bad at all. And then we get a side of mac and cheese for a grand total of $10. Not bad. Now, what I got was the buffalo chicken salad. So, I'm pretty interested to see how this is going to taste. I got it on white bread, added a little bit of lettuce, got it toasted, and also added some pepper. So, comes with a pickle. We're gonna, what is this? Oh, and it comes with a cookie. Not bad. So we're gonna try a bite of each, including the mac and cheese. And then I'm gonna take a break, eat this, and I'll come back and leave you guys with my final review. That's fantastic. And now we got some mac and cheese. Let's try this. Definitely hot. It's good. It's mac and cheese. It's not gonna blow the world away. It's not the greatest mac and cheese I've ever had. It's not like Panera mac and cheese, but it's very good. And the fact that you actually get mac and cheese as a side with this big sandwich for $10, it's pretty good value. All right, so I will give Chick's Chicken Salad an 8.0 out of 10. It was very, very good. I thought that I could have received a little bit more chicken salad on the sandwich itself, but the flavor of the chicken salad was phenomenal. Some of the best flavor I've ever had in chicken salad. The cookie at the end was only 2 bites, but it was excellent. As I said, the mac and cheese, it was mac and cheese. But overall, 8.10 or 8.0 out of 10, Chick's Chicken Salad. Check them out if you're in Fort Myers. Definitely recommend it. So every day when I'm out and about, because I work remotely, so some days I'm working from home, some days I'm working from the library, some days I'm working from Starbucks. Just depends on the mood that day. There's a lot of cafes I like to try too, just depends. But one of the big things I do is to break up my work day, I always come out and go for a walk. And there's various parks that I go to that are really, really nice. Fort Myers and Cape Coral do an absolute phenomenal job at maintaining their parks. The Parks and Recreational Development does just a phenomenal job. So currently out and about, just on a walk. I've got this nice little, I don't even know what you call that, it's probably a stream over here. We got a whole bunch of woodlands over here. But next thing I wanted to talk about was rent optimization. So this refers to the FMRs, so fair market rents, as a reminder. Now, when it comes to optimizing your rents, as I mentioned previous, you want to be able to price your rental as high as the value of your home allows. So, if you list your house on affordable housing, you have the highest rent
on affordable housing. So let's just use a random example. Let's say Dallas, Texas. This is not true. This is an example. Let's say Dallas, Texas. Let's say Dallas, Texas, a 4-bedroom will pay $1,700. So say $1,700 is your FMR. If you're listed at $1,700, then you need to look at the other $1,700 apartments in the area or homes in the area. Because if your $1,700 home looks like a $1,300 home, why would a Section 8 tenant who's basically getting free rent choose your home if they have the option to go to a nicer home for the same price? So one of the key factors is that you need to be able to analyze the market. When you open up affordable housing, you need to find other houses in your price range and determine what is the value of my home. Maybe it's spot on, and if it is, well, then there you go, that's great. But you have to meet in the middle, because if you're overpriced, you're not going to be able to find any tenants for your properties. And if you are underpriced, well, then you're just going to have tenants taking advantage of you and you're going to be losing money. So at the end of the day, you've got to analyze the current market. The other incredible thing about Section 8 is that every single year, the FMR usually goes up 3 to 5%. So one of the key things to do is when you are having a new tenant sign a lease, in that lease, have them sign that they will not contest any increase in rent when they go to re-sign into the next year. Why? Because they're not paying it. The government, right, is paying it. HUD is paying it. This tenant was paying a certain amount, and I don't remember the amount. However, when it came time to raise her rent, she literally laughed and she's like, of course I'll sign off on raising the rent. I don't pay anything. And that's the truth, because they're not paying anything. You can then raise the rent because at the end of the day, HUD is the one paying for the rent. So that's a smart way to be able to get a guaranteed rent increase every single year. And if you're playing it smart, then your business should succeed. And if you're succeeding, well, then you can acquire more properties. And acquiring more properties is definitely the goal with Section 8, because if you've got a multitude of properties, you have a phenomenal passive stream of income coming in every single month. And if you have property management, you really have nothing to worry about. This right here is one of those beauties that I was just telling you about, how Fort Myers, they do such an amazing job at managing their parks. Now where I was walking was just a path right there, and that path leads all the way to the park down there, and this path comes all the way down and then it leads to this right here, and this opens up into this wonderful little pier into this beautiful pond. And where I am, this is called Trailhead Park. This park literally goes for like miles. And I didn't mean park, I meant to say trail. This trail goes for like 30 miles. So where I technically parked is called Trailhead Park, but the path goes for like 30 miles. If you're familiar with the AAA Boston Red Sox, they are about 15 miles to the west of me, and you can actually walk to that field from here on this path. How cool is that? So I was pretty close. I think I said it was 15 miles. And then also the Minnesota Twins affiliate team is here as well. And it's just right down this path. So if we just walked for 7 miles, we'd literally run into the Twins Stadium. And if we walked for an 11 miles, we would end up in I think it's Pawtucket, right? Because you got the Boston Red Sox, and I think their AAA affiliate is the Pawtucket. But that doesn't make any sense, so I don't think it's AAA. I think it's maybe single A. One of the professional teams of the Red Sox, right? And as I said before, Trailhead Neighborhood Park, 3980 Veronica Shoemaker Boulevard. So if you want to know where this beautiful place is, and then of course the parking lot is just right over there. All right, I'm bringing it up because it's right there. Now, I've seen various Cybertrucks around Miami, and this is the one that I see because of the license plate all the time in Fort Myers. Now, I personally love it. I'm a huge Tesla fan. I'm not going to go into my love of Teslas. I'm sure most of you guys know. I have driven so many Teslas, and Teslas are literally my favorite. I love the Cybertruck. I want a Cybertruck. Yeah, I don't think the wife's okay with that though. She thinks they're ugly. You either love them or you hate them. Which one are you? Let me know down below. All right, so it's been 3 days, I think, since I filmed. This vlog was supposed to be out on the 16th. However, had some personal things that occurred. My best friend, my brother of 14 years, Charlie Boy, he very unexpectedly passed away on the 16th, which just so happens to be my mom's birthday. And it's been extremely difficult. I literally haven't touched any vlog or any editing since, and it's been pretty rough. I needed to come on and finish up this video. It's now Saturday. I'm at the park. I'm at Lakes Park in Fort Myers, one of just the most beautiful parks. It actually correlates because I remember in this video I was talking about Trailhead Park, how nice that park is. This is just another example of the parks and recreation here. All sorts of alligators in here. It's a really great place. So I wanted to finish up this video. We were talking about Section 8. So the last part that we're going to be talking about is relationships and marketing. Now, as far as relationships are concerned, you're going to want to build a relationship with your local HUD agency. So wherever you're based, your real estate is based, you want to build a relationship with that HUD office. So they get to know you. They know when you call in, oh, hi, Mr. Campbell, how are you doing? They know you. They know what your goals are. That way, when they have an opening, they can easily recommend you as a potential landlord for a future tenant. So building a relationship with your local HUD office is definitely a key tip. There's also lots of outreach events that I've noticed that I didn't originally know, but there's lots of outreach events that you are able to attend to be able to meet people in that area. As we continue to discuss relationships, I'm going to talk about the importance of a relationship with your contractor, because contractors are going to be people that you're going to be working with almost every single day. Those contractors are going to be the ones who are going into your place, fixing up whatever's wrong, making sure every single year you are passing your inspection. And that's another thing that I didn't mention earlier, is these inspections occur every single year. So every year you need to make sure that your house that you own, that your tenant is in, is going to pass those inspections that we previously discussed. Who is going to make sure those inspections are passing are your contractors. So build a relationship with local contractors, try a few of them out, and eventually you're going to find one that you like and one that sticks. If you are doing your own property management, you'll be working. That is a huge iguana. Probably can't see him. If you are doing your own property management, you are going to be the one working with your contractors 99.9% of the time. However, if you have a property manager doing all of your property management, you might not be working as much with the contractor. It would be more your property manager. However, if you do have someone doing your property management, I would still be the one, unless they have a specific contractor that they trust, I would still be the one who is finding the contractor for your property manager to use. That way, you know that the work getting done is actually getting done. It's another huge iguana. Here in Florida, they just like run right across. You got to make sure you don't step on them. Gigantic guys, like 2-3 feet, some of them. Better than an alligator. And lastly, I wanted to talk about marketing. Now, we talked about marketing a little bit and how you have to analyze the market and be sure that your property is either not priced too high, not priced too low. Make sure that the work being done to your property is adequate. Make sure it's up to date with other properties in the area. Because once again, if your place is priced at the top threshold of what the FMR rate is, however, your property does not look that value, it's not going to get rented out. Because these tenants who are going to be interested, they can basically pick and choose which house that they're interested in. They're not going to go for the highest priced home that looks like a low priced home when they can literally get something for the same price that looks fantastic. So you got to keep that in mind. Another method of marketing is, of course, social media. You can put these houses on Facebook Marketplace. You can put them on affordable housing, which affordable housing is going to be your number one go-to for all sorts of marketing because that's where tenants are going to be. Another key tip is to get the premium plan of affordable housing, because if you get the premium plan for affordable housing, you can actually reach out to these tenants individually. So there's no need for really even waiting around for a tenant to call you. You can sort and filter through the exact tenant that you're looking for. You'll be able to get their phone number. You'll be able to call them, reach out to them, and explain why they should come to your property. And not only that, but then they can have the trust of actually knowing you contacted them and you're building a relationship with them. Talking about social media, of course, you can make Instagram reels, you can make YouTube shorts, you can make TikToks based around the properties that you have available. You can also do exactly what I'm doing, talking about your experiences on YouTube. You don't have to do paid marketing. You can do these things organically. Another key aspect is, once again, community events. There's a lot of outreach events. So maybe you could actually go to the outreach event, talk to potential tenants, let them know you've got a place available, go there with either online applications or, of course, having your own paper application ready to go so they can just apply right then and there and you can move forward. Now, there's a lot of various intricacies that can happen. There's also a lot to learn when it comes to Section 8. The nice thing about Section 8 is there's kind of a limit. What I mean is, once you know what you know, there's really no way to progress, to increase your knowledge without actually doing it, because there's only so much that you can learn about Section 8, which is what's nice. For example, in social media, the algorithms are changing. New tech is always coming out, right? There's always ways to increase your knowledge. With Section 8, it's not as much like that. Once you kind of know what you know it. So there's a lot of things still yet to be covered that I haven't gone over. That's a very in-depth thing to do. Maybe that's something that I'll cover in the future. But as for this specific video, that's kind of where I'm going to leave the information. Not really going to go much more than this. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to know something specific, feel free to reach out to me. Just leave a comment down below. You can also DM me on social media, and we can get back or I'll get back with you and we can talk more in depth about your question. But with that being said, it's going to be the end of today's video. Once again, apologize for the few days of not getting this video out, but I had to take some time for myself. But with that being said, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace out. Catch you guys in the next video. Be sure to subscribe if you guys want to see more like this, and we'll talk to you soon. Remember, you create your own story.